The Wedding Thinners podcast. Listen to our podcast. The buffet's closed. Wear smaller clothes. Right, here we are, ladies and gents. This is episode 19. Is it 19? Yeah, episode 19, I think. Don't know. Don't even really I'm not keeping up to date with what's happening. But yeah, the Wedding Thinners podcast back again, episode 19. And I'm joined this evening by two very, very incredible human beings. I'm joined by Tess Burrstone. Say hi, Tess.
Oh, hey.
Hi, Tess. There is a short delay there, we should say, just in case anyone thinks that Tess is just ignoring any comments that we ask. There's a short delay, isn't there? I don't know if you're aware of that at your end. Just a tiny, tiny delay anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Noted.
just a small one. Yeah, just not that there's a problem. And also we're joined by Jimmy Waters. Say hi, Jimmy.
Hello.
There we are. See, both fantastic guests all here just to have a chat with us on the Wedding Thinners podcast. Thank you both so much for joining me to have a chat late on a Saturday evening. How are you both keeping? You good?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having us.
Good. We're all safe and well. Jimmy, you all safe and well where you are?
All safe and well this end. I actually woke up this morning feeling a tiny little bit under the weather, but I had I've had a bath and I've had a cup of tea and I feel good now. So
a bit of a me day.
A bit of a me day, yeah. So,
perfect.
You've been like kind of working quite full on in the week, and then you have one rest, and suddenly it all just kind of hits you at the same time.
That's
it's
it.
not too bad. It's all
you
right.
Definitely need a day like that every now and then. I think just where you just sit down and say no to life, and it's just you. Just you and you. Yeah, it's perfect. So, Jimmy, where are you joining us from, dude?
I am joining from my flat in Hackney, which is great. My girlfriend has popped out to. She's actually gone for a little bit of a kind of socially distant walk with one of our friends who lives down the road, which is nice. And it's all good. So just been in here for 3 months. Crazy. This has been our lockdown base.
And it's funny how blasé we are about the fact now that we're all in lockdown still, isn't it? It's like, I've just been living here for the last 1,000 years and it is what it is. And I think now that we're approaching we're hopefully approaching the end of all of this silliness. Yeah, let's keep it all crossed. Tess, you're absolutely right to be sitting there crossing those fingers. I don't know whether I'm alone here, but I feel a little bit like I don't really know how to behave out in the real world anymore, and I don't really know how I'm going to handle going to a pub, and I'll just stand at the bar looking, going, what happens next? So
absolutely. I don't know if I remember how to be sociable.
You'll just sit there alone at the table, just be like,
it's that thing, isn't it? Where I think it was a friend's birthday last year, and it was the first time we all met up, and we all sort of cracked open some beers on the common, and we were sitting there, and people just didn't say anything. Yeah. But it's like the first social meeting, and you have that thing where you don't where normally you say what you've been up to, and people have stories, and this time you say, everyone's been on Groundhog Day, and you say what you've been up to, and everyone just goes nothing.
Everyone's got the same story.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite frightening, but I think it will be that's an interesting concept, isn't it, really, to sort of consider that all we have to speak about in ordinary times is what we've been doing. It's all very me-based, but I'm looking forward to trying to learn again how to speak and how to be sociable, but it'll be interesting. What about you, Tess? Where are you joining us from today?
I am in sunny Basildon in Essex.
Yeah.
Could
you just refer to what did you call it earlier? You called it Bas Vegas, didn't you?
Bas Vegas, they call it.
That.
Bas Vegas, because I think it's because there's a big Hollywood sign. It's not Hollywood, obviously, but it says Basildon. It's driving into Basildon. It looks like the Hollywood. Yeah, I think that's where it comes from. Yeah, and
so it's not Vegas. It's not a nickname you've given.
I don't really know where it comes from.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not my nickname. Oh no, it's not my name. That is genuinely what people call it. I'm in Basildon. I'm here with my husband and my 2 dogs. And it was really great to be close to London. I lived away from London for quite a few years, and coming back and being kind of close to it again was amazing while we were still working. Obviously now no one is working, so it's kind of changed things a little bit, but it's amazing being this close to London, and it's been a lot of fun being here actually. I think it's been great. Pre-COVID.
And Tess, whilst you're sort of having a chat, just tell us what do you do?
Yes, I am a singer, recording artist, dog mum, and recently qualified personal trainer, nearly qualified, like so close to being qualified, just waiting for the last kind of official bits to come through, like the certificate and stuff. But I've just finished all my training. So yeah, it's kind of like the different parts of my life kind of taken another turn recently. COVID's kind of made us all rethink a little bit where we're going with our careers. So I had to kind of have a think about that and make a change, and something I love and really enjoy. And yeah, so that's been my recent venture.
Nice. Well, we're gonna catch up with that as we go through, because we're going to talk about fitness, and I'll see if you've got any tips for me. Anything like that would be wonderful. So you've got some new music that's just been released as well, which we're going to chat about as well. And I've had the fortune of hearing you sing for many thousands of years. But yeah, it's lovely to hear you singing. This new single was absolutely corking. So we'll share the little snippet that we can share, and then we'll send everybody the links where they can hear it in a bit. So Jimmy, what about you, buddy? What is it you do? Why are you here, bud?
Well, firstly, I'd just like to say that I can vouch that Tess's new single is amazing, because we just heard it today, and we were dancing in the flat. It's awesome. Going to get everyone perked up for the summer. Certainly.
It's definitely a summer anthem, isn't it?
Oh my god, amazing!
Yeah. Oh,
it's really
cool. Yes.
Yeah. What do I do? So I run a theatre company called Proud Haddock that I've run for about 6 years, and I direct plays. And I was an actor back in the day, and I went to drama school. And then I just had a moment where I was helping a friend with the scene, and he was having some issues with it, and I didn't really ever think about directing, and it just started. His performance started to get better, and I got a real buzz off that. And that was it. I decided to be a director, and that was when I was in my early 20s. And then since then, I've been doing that, really.
That's great. That sounds really exciting. So what sort of things have you directed? And I'm going to ask you what you've performed in as well.
Well, what have I directed? I've done a few things. I did a play called Mrs Orwell, which was all about George Orwell and his second wife, which was a really good play. It was a really good script, so it was great to have the opportunity to put that on and produce that. I've done a couple of Tony Harrison plays, who's an interesting poet playwright from Leeds. I've done Julius Caesar. I've done Hamlet. I've done some Noel Coward. So like a mixed bag, really.
Yeah, real variety there.
Good variety, yeah. And I'm aching to get back in the room with actors, because it's been weird, over lockdown, not being able to do what you love and not being able to be creative. You have those moments where you think, I wonder if I can still do it, because you've been so long out the game, and it's all been on Zoom. But no, I can't complain too much. It's been all right.
Brilliant. And I'll tell you, it's something I think that is, I don't know whether it is I don't know whether it's a creative thought or a creative person's thought, because I'm having the same thoughts. I actually I collected all of my kit for gigs today, and I've had a lot of building work done, so it's been in storage, and I collected it all, and I was loading it all back into my garage, and I was thinking to myself, I don't actually know if I know how this goes together anymore. What does this do? And it was like, I wonder if I'm still going to be able to play and sing, and whether I'm still going to be able to hit that note, and whether I'm still going to do that bit. And the thought of singing for an hour and a half without a break or something like that, I don't know, man. I've got to really pick myself up and start building that stamina up. So I mean, what about you, Tess? Are you thinking the same?
Oh, absolutely. I'm quite nervous about getting back into it all, to be honest, apprehensive, because I've not been practicing as much as I should have. No. And I don't know if anyone else has been like kind of rehearsing or practicing.
No, don't worry.
You just don't do it. You say that you want to, going to, you just don't. And
but I think also, like, why would you when you don't know when you're going to restart again? Like, you could be,
right?
like,
it's hard to motivate yourself to do it when you don't. It's kind of the unknown. And I've found that with recently doing like with some of my recording artist side of things, like releasing like the new music that we've just done and recording in the studio, I felt the difference, like just doing certain things, it just doesn't quite feel as easy as it normally does.
There's that tightness.
I can tell I've been off my stamina, and like I it's going to take some building up, I think. Definitely I need to start endurance.
I've already booked myself in with my vocal coach. I've decided. I just texted her. I was like, Kim, I need you. Kim, be here, please. And so she's going to talk me through, you know, and not that necessarily. I hope I don't need to be retaught, but certainly just to, you know, have somebody there to hold your hand. Yeah,
we can always learn. I think it's amazing to always, you know, take something away from different coaches, different singers. I agree. Everyone should have a vocal coach, even if you are a successful singer. I agree. Everyone should have a vocal coach.
Just keeps you in line, doesn't it? Keeps you in check.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't realize that you're doing certain things, and you might, you might learn something new. You can always learn something new.
My thing that really highlighted the fact that I needed to do this soon, because I don't know about you, Tess, but I've actually got some gigs lined up for May. So they're going to be completely socially distanced. It's going to be a wedding, and they're just going for it. They're going for it with the restricted numbers. I've checked out that we're all cool to do it. So, you know, all the people say that we can be there as long as, you know, we're all COVID secure. Yeah, and I was like, okay, so that May, I've got to start soon. I've got to start. It's like, you know, I need to do a Rocky montage, basically. That'll make it happen.
Oh, it's going to be the lyrics.
Yeah.
I'm
going to totally do it now as well.
Oh yeah. I love
as I say, lyrics. It's really nice to obviously chat to you guys, and you know, we're going to cover all the creative things that we do, and more so what you do. But I think also, like, what this podcast is kind of designed to do, like I said to both of you on the phone, was just to provide a bit of a platform for anybody wanting to chat about the rough and tough stuff. And, you know, for me, it's come from a place where I learned, with regards to my eating and my weight management, I learned that actually I wasn't alone, which sounds really cliche and a bit twee when I say it like that. But for me, a lot of my weight loss was often done secretly, and I was trying to do it all on my own. And actually this time on this sort of run of trying to do it, and, you know, this has been the longest I've been doing it consistently and sort of managing to maintain and not having given up. I'm going, do you know what? I'll just give me a pack of donuts. That'd be lovely. And that's all come about, I believe, due to the support network I got from my wife and my family and my mates. And really that all started because of the fact I was talking to more of my friends and saying, oh, I'm really, really struggling with this, and hearing others go, oh yeah, I do that. Even from people who to look at, I was thinking, you know, they're probably quite happy with their bodies. So yeah, this is where the podcast kind of came from. So I always like to chuck this question in of what's your relationship like with food? Because I just think it's an interesting one for me personally. So it's a bit selfish. So we're going to start with you, Jimmy, which is always a curveball because you would expect that I would go to Tess. I don't intend to be impolite by doing that, but I just like, you know, you probably.
Yeah, well, my relationship with food, well, I should start by saying that everyone who knows me will tell you that I am a dreadful cook and I can't cook. So I absolutely appalling. I'm getting better at it, or I have been slowly getting more accustomed to it, and certainly in the past couple of years. But because I can't cook, it meant that I lent into food which you probably shouldn't eat. So especially when I was a student, I was tucking into, you know, pot noodles and peanut butter sandwich, you know, all the kind of stuff that's unhealthy. And I since then have sort of slowly got a little bit better at it. But I guess I'm quite, I don't know, I'm quite I used to smoke, and that obviously prevents an appetite. So whenever you feel hungry, you have a fag. And then since giving up smoking, I've certainly noticed that I've eaten more. But I love food. I love a meal. Whenever I'm hungry, I eat really quickly. I've been told that I go all out. I just love it. But I'm probably not as healthy as I should be. I think.
What's your guilty pleasure? Do you have one that's a bit of a?
Yeah, I do.
I shouldn't really, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, so it's peanut butter sandwiches, and when I'm feeling like it, I love getting like a white loaf of bread and some pat peanut butter. And there's nothing better for me than like an untoasted peanut butter sandwich.
And then peanut butters are available.
Unbelievable. It's like the best thing in the world. And then
are you a peanut butter and jam or jet? Is it what is it?
PBJ.
PBJ.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, yeah, for me, like peanut butter on its own
Just works.
with white bread is the best. But peanut butter and jam is amazing as well.
Have you tried peanut butter and banana?
No, but I don't like banana. I don't like bananas.
Oh, I thought I was onto one then. I thought I was going to rock your world. That was literally change your life.
Yeah. It's just like,
dare I say it? I mean, have there ever been instances where maybe like one of those sandwiches has not been enough and you've sort of gone a bit overboard on it, or
like every single time I've done it, it's absolute. I can just nail half a loaf of bread.
Really?
Seriously.
But like, how does that? Because like for me, that has happened to me, not necessarily with peanut butter, but peanut butter in the past. But like, I don't know, mine probably would have been jam donuts back in the day. Like you could easily woof down 4.
Well, I think, yeah. So I mean,
do you have that guilt? Like, does that happen to you, or is that just me?
Well, as a person, I think I've got quite an obsessive personality. So I think I get obsessed with things. You know, in all walks, you know, I can get obsessed with cars for like 2 years and then get very bored of it, or get, you know, I'm that sort of, I'm wired that way. And so with food, it's exactly the same.
Sure.
So it's, you know, when I was at university, I was obsessed with eating pistachio nuts. It was like, you know, I'd always eat pistachios, not just pistachios. I'd like to add, I did eat other things as well. But I just got obsessed with it. And then I got bored of pistachio nuts, and then I'd go on to something else. So I think I go through episodically, I kind of work my way through different types of food, and I'll eat so much of it and become so immersed in it that I'll probably just get a bit sick of it and move on to something else. So that's the way I tend to navigate myself. But yeah, peanut butter sandwiches has been kind of consistent throughout pretty much all of it, I think. Yeah. Definitely.
All right. Well, and now everyone listening knows what to get you for Christmas and for lunch. So it works really well, doesn't it?
Thank you in advance.
Yeah. And I presume the Sunpack reference was because of an impending sponsorship, or the want for a sponsorship from.
Yeah,
Sunpack.
they're gonna pay me later. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Just like a vat of peanut butter. Smooth or crunchy? There's the question.
Crunchy.
Yeah, all day.
Oh my god. Slightly harder to spread. You know.
Yes, but well worth the effort.
When you're as impatient as I am to get it made, when you buy it, you're hungry. That's the only frustrating bit, is you get
rip the bread. You're that impatient.
You rip the bread.
It just pisses me right off.
Oh, it's the worst. You know, it's the worst. But yeah, it's that's the only thing. It's slightly harder to spread. But and I have this thing as well because it's so. I think the first time I ate a peanut butter sandwich, I was about 8 or 9, and it just, you know, it changed my life. But I think the first, it's this, I have this feeling where whenever I, you know, if I'm hungry and I haven't had one in a while, I'm so excited, and I get the bread out and I start spreading it, and it's the first smell.
Yeah.
I just think, do I want to smell it?
Oh.
Do I want to, you know, experience the enjoyment when I eat it for the first time? But I sometimes, if I have a little smell, it's like, amazing.
Sometimes it smells better than it tastes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can actually see I can see the love for peanut butter just in your face as you're describing it. Like, that's never happened. Actually, in our previous podcast, so on episode 18, we had Anna Brooks and Ivan Van Hetten, and Ivan is from Suriname, and peanuts apparently play an important part of their, or not necessarily of their diet, but that he was explaining to me he is obsessed with peanuts. And when I asked the similar sort of question about what's your guilty pleasure, and I did not expect him to say peanuts at all for some reason, because like for most people it's like, oh, Pringles, man, I could just eat once you pop and all that. But he was telling me there's something called peanut soup. Actually, Anna was telling me about peanut soup. So that could be something for you to check out. You know, it could be something for you to explore, Jimmy. Why not?
I can understand an obsession with peanuts. Like I said, pistachio.
You're there. You're very much there. And I'd like to think, Tess, and maybe we'll bring you in on this little bit, you know, that the extra effort required to spread crunchy peanut butter possibly is some form of calories burnt, which then obviously are consumed for, what, you know, bringing your professional experience. Is that okay?
Absolutely. What you mean, because of the lumps?
Because you're working harder. That, you know, that muscle, you know, you're working more muscles, and, you know, heart rate increasing. No, is that just wishful thinking?
A couple of extra swings to the arm.
Yeah, just like run at it. It's just like keep the bread still and just run back and forth. Okay, cool. All right. Well, there you heard it here first. It's the peanut butter diet, ladies and gents, sponsored by Proud Haddock.
You work those arms, guys. Work those arms. Come on.
Peanut Butter the musical will be produced next year.
Yes, that's it. Well, that's it. And you've got your lead female, and hopefully you got your lead male.
We've got our lead female. We got co-production with Sunpat.
Yep.
Yep.
Sponsorship.
Yeah.
And everything is peanut based, like drinks in the interval, everything. Actually, that would be dreadful for people with allergies, and we should probably stop at this moment, I guess, because that would be a literal shit show, perhaps. And Tess, for you, I mean, where are we at? Like, what's your relationship like with food? What's your guilty pleasure, food-wise?
That's a really big question for me, because my relationship with food has gone up and down for years and years and years. I was always growing up, I always thought my body type, if you like, I always just thought that I was one of those people that would just put on weight so easily. I just thought that I'm just one of those people. I just gain weight. I eat something and I gain weight, and that's just the way it is. So I've always had a bit of a tricky relationship with food, and I love food. Like, I am a foodie. If there ever was one, I love my food. And you know, it's a tricky relationship, because it is one of those things, and especially growing up as a girl, like, and there's so many expectations for what our bodies are supposed to look like, and it has been an up and down journey for me with food. And I think it's only really been recently that I've started to really enjoy food again, and kind of be less restrictive, and really start to actually have the things that I love, and understand that I can have those things, and that it is okay.
And it's sort of a bit more guilt-free now.
Never have. Yeah, absolutely. And especially as I'm trying to be more active in my lifestyle now, it's meant that and having more of an awareness of what I'm putting into my body, and understanding how it makes me feel, my energy level, all of that stuff has just changed food for me. It's so much. And it was always, I was so hard on myself. I was so, if I ever fell off the wagon, or if I did Weight Watchers, I did Slimming World, I did them all. I tried everything. I would have such harsh, restrictive diets, and I'd almost punish myself. I'd say, right, that's it. I've gone off the rails today. That's it. I'm not going to eat tomorrow. I'm just going to have orange juice tomorrow. I'm going to have a 1,000 calorie deficit tomorrow. I'm not going to let myself have any carbs, no chocolate, no sugar. And it would be a punishment, and it created.
Yeah, that's dangerous as well, though, isn't it? You can become quite obsessive about that. Yeah,
absolutely. And
like, what for you? Like you said about you fell off the wagon. Like what did that consist of for you? Like just having a bad day in terms of not eating clean enough.
Absolutely, or just eating things that I think I'm not allowed to have. Like I'd order in a takeaway, or I'd eat an entire Domino's pizza, or I'd eat 10 jam donuts, or all the things that are so easy to indulge in, because it's that those lovely carbs, those lovely single sugars that the body just goes, and we want it. Our bodies want it.
More of those jam donuts.
So addictive, absolutely. And it's and I think the problem with those restrictive diets is that you do end up just craving it so much, and that's when you can't sustain it. It's not
I think it builds up, doesn't it? You know, you say no to it so many times, and then if the brain or the body is still craving it, eventually you're going to crack, and then you'll have 20,000 of them as opposed to maybe just the one. Obviously exaggerated for autistic license.
Really useful thing I've learned recently is the 80-20 rule, which is 80% of the time you're really, really sensible. You're following, like healthy guidelines, going for like natural foods, good things that are going to fill you up, make you feel fuller for longer. Things that are going to give you energy, things that are good for your body. And then that 20% of the time, allowing yourself those little treats if you want them. Like there's little tricks that I've learned, like in the evening, if I'm really craving that chocolate or that sugar, having like a little bag of fun-sized Maltesers, it's under 100 calories. If I allow myself that, it's just that little things. Those tiny, or like having some hot chocolate. That there are Highlights hot chocolates at 38 calories a second. There are other hot chocolates available, by the way.
No, there really aren't.
But no, that is the one. Highlights, little diet hacks.
I just jump in on that. My justification for doing that is watching a film in the evening, having like a bag of sweet popcorn, or
Oh,
like so you're kind of saying, I'm going to recreate the cinema experience, and obviously to do that, I need the food that I would normally have at the cinema. So that's like your justification for doing it.
Yeah.
I
want it. And do you know what? Another really interesting thing I've learned recently as well. I listened to a podcast on it, actually. It's about associating certain places with food. And I'm a sucker for sitting in front of the telly and eating my dinner. I know that's not for everyone. Some people like to sit at the table and have their dinner, and they like to, I love to sit in front of the TV in my comfies with my dinner on my lap. I know it's terrible, but I love it. So now when I'm sat watching TV, my brain goes, where's the food? Well, I need food now. This is food. And it's that association. That
conditioning as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I am conditioned to eat food when I sit and watch TV. So that's my trigger time for me, is when I sit to watch something, my body goes, come on.
Mine's the car. Like when I'm driving, I don't know about you, Tess, as well, like on the way home from gigs. Like late at night, you're knackered, you've used all of your energy dancing like a knobhead on stage. I don't mean you personally, Tess, although I have seen you dance like a knobhead. Yeah. And you're like, oh well, I don't need petrol, but I could easily need petrol. And you stop off and in the past, well, 100 miles won't do. Yeah, and that's so dangerous, man. I had a chat with, like, I think it was right back at maybe like episode 2 or 3, and one of our guests was a guy called Liam Jackson, who's a really good friend of mine, and he was one of the first people actually that I kind of opened up to and said, oh, I'm really struggling with this, and hearing him say the same thing was like really rewarding in a weird sort of way, and refreshing, and I guess helpful to hear that from him. But I didn't even realize that he experienced the same things. He's a singer as well. He experienced the same things. And what was really interesting in that podcast was the fact that he spoke about driving home, or even driving to gigs, because you grab food on the go if you're in a bit of a rush, or, for argument's sake, you've been at another gig, or you've had work and you're running off to your next gig. And his go-to was he'd stop off and he'd go to the garage and he'd always have 2 chicken salad sandwiches, and it was all right because it had salad in it, and that was exactly the same thing. And I was like, but it's salad, like, it's all good, so it was really fascinating. But a bit of a hack, if this helps anybody listening and or anybody gigging who's driving home, and again, and I mentioned this in the podcast last week, another good friend of mine drives home. If he's driving home late from a gig, he will always have a punnet of grapes, like unopened, that he's bought specifically for the journey home, and then he will just consume those on the way home, because his theory is it gives him that little sugary hit, which may replace the need for that chocolate or whatever on the way home. So, but you're right, it's amazing how we are so easily conditioned to these things, isn't it? Absolutely.
And I think the other thing is it's quite a sugar saturated environment we live in now, isn't it? It's like those but naughty treats are everywhere. When you go into, like, for instance, the petrol station, it's just all that chocolate, and it's so much temptation. And I think it's making changes like that, small things, having that healthy snack there, having that something there, and
to try to help.
It's avoiding those barriers, isn't it? It's those triggers. It's coming up with ways to avoid those triggers and work through those barriers that kind of end up making you fall off the wagon.
I find that whenever I'm shopping in the supermarket and I get to that part, that my justification for having one for the walk home every time, I just, in my head, it just goes, okay, so it's going to be a while before I have all this food that I've just bought. So in the meantime, I'll just have a little snack, and I do it every single time.
Do you know what I have visions of, Jimmy? I have visions of you walking and buttering or peanut butter spreading at the same time.
You're not far wrong.
No, I think we all do that, though. Like, learning things about, like, you're not the only person doing that. I do that. I know my wife does that. Only because I caught her out. Not that there's a problem with it, but I know that, she does the same. You sort of think, well, I've, just spent an hour and a half shopping, and, I need a little bit of a pick me up, and why not? If that's going to be your one treat that week or, that day, then go for it. And I'm learning that more and more, that I can do that. For me, it's about the guilt, and in the past, if I'd done that and felt guilty, that guilt would probably build up and up and up until the point where I'd be like, it's not worth doing this anymore, because all I'm doing is feeling shit every day because of the fact that I've had a Kinder Bueno, So I'm learning that now, and that feels really good. And I love those moments where I walk into the shop and I only go in to get what I intended to go in to get. That's a real success for me. And, one of the things that, because I do Slimming World tests, and I think it's been great for me. It's been fantastic. It's not for everybody, but it's been really useful. It just sort of, I don't know, kind of just maybe go, okay, cool. This is food that I can eat. This is food I can eat as much as I want of, and this is the way that I can manage all those treats. So, yeah, no, it's that's
my
a
mum
small non-scales victory.
Right. My mum's been doing world, and she's lost like 2 stone, and cool. she absolutely loves it. So I think if you find something that works for you, and then absolutely stick at it. It's done anyway. She finds it really simple, really easy to follow. She likes all the little rules, and she's always kind of done it. So it's her comfort zone, and she loves the kind of, like you said before, about the kind of community feel of it. You're in it together, and it's accountability. It's all of that. I think if you found something that works, then stick at it. And
and they get that. I think now I've been doing that for I don't know how many years. I've been doing it maybe 2 years now, and now they kind of know me. They get me, and I get them as well. And I was really petulant, and I was a bit, I don't know, I was a bit like, didn't really be there. I've told them this, I've opened up to them about the fact that I just sat there like going, none of this is relevant to me, but whatever. And actually, when I started hearing from everybody else around the room, I was like, okay, actually, this is something I should listen to. And it's been really useful. And even during lockdown, I've managed to sort of maintain, and I've been sort of fluctuating between weights. It's not, it's not gone stratospheric, and it's not gone crazy mental. So I'm quite pleased. I'm really proud of that. But you like, Tess, like your singing is obviously like, you're a super talent with your voice. Your voice is, I think people will hear that when we play the little snippet of your new single. So we'll say that for a little bit later. But I appreciate you've obviously had a lot of work, as I know you would have, Jimmy, as well. Like moved, postponed, cancelled. And I'm curious just to know, like, as a musician myself, like I know how crappy that's been. I do have the fortune of, I'm a teacher as well, so I know that I've not had it as hard, but I've certainly felt that. So, like, from your perspective, Tess, like, you were out gigging loads. You're working so hard as a musician. You're building such an incredible career. You're such a creative, talented, incredible, versatile singer. And you're at the peak of your game. And then suddenly that it was going well. It was going really well. What happened? But like, how did that impact you? Because like for me, even though I had something else to do, albeit the schools were closed for a bit, so that was a bit weird, which is an understatement. Like for you, like you went from having, a very regular thing. It's almost part of your social life as well, because you do it with your mates, and
absolutely,
you build that circle of friends around you, and it just stops. How did that impact you? Like, what happened to your mind?
It was, oh my goodness, it's been a rough year. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was pretty hard. I think the shock in the beginning, and they're kind of like, a couple of weeks off, this is nice, I get a bit of time to rest. And then it's like a year later, we're all shell shocked.
We'll be gigging again by September. That's what I was saying to my band. Don't worry, those September gigs will be fine.
I'm sure it'll be gone by then. And do you know what? It really felt like I lost a part of myself, and like my identity. And I felt like without that part of myself, I'm sure, Jimmy, you probably feel similarly, like, and all musicians or people who are in the arts, and it is a huge part of your identity and who you are. And I think I just felt really lost for a while without it. As time went on, and I suddenly had the realization, like, this could be for the long haul, and maybe forever. We didn't know at that point. We didn't know what was going to happen.
No.
Well, we still, it's
we're still going to do it, I suppose. Like we're not 100% sure, but
there's no guarantees. We're hopeful, and it's looking better. But it's one of those things, and it kind of left me thinking, who am I without singing? Who am I? What am I? I don't know who I am. I don't know if I'm worth anything. I don't know. It makes you have these thoughts and these questions, and you feel. I felt really super lost, and I started.
Who did you turn to? You've got your husband, but who did you turn to? Because he's a doctor, right?
Amazing husband. He's a doctor on A&E, and he has been amazing throughout this. He's been working on the front line this whole time. He's been working long hours. He's been, he's just an unbelievable man. He's wonderful. And at this moment, I think I know that maybe my voice is minor and very small in the grand scheme of things, but I think we should, say a massive thank you to him and to everybody. Thank you, James.
Yeah, seriously.
Thank you for our NHS heroes.
It doesn't really feel like it does it an awful lot. I actually had my jab the other day, And I
Yes.
I was waiting for the
Amazing.
waiting for the queue, and I was like thinking, oh God, like look at these people. They are genuinely heroes. They are standing here in front of. I mean, the queue was huge. I was in the queue for 2 hours. I don't care about that. Whatever. Like, I'll do it if I need to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So many
Yeah.
people moaning.
And
They can just shit off, the moaners, whatever. Why are you moaning? But like, and then when I went into the place, because I was queuing for like 2 hours outside, and when I was finally in, the queue continued, which was alarming, but well, I went with it. But then these guys, these girls, these people from the NHS, they're just cracking on. They had a sense of humor. They were just and I don't know. I just sat down at the table having my consultation before they, did the needle thing, and I just wanted to say, I just want to say thank you, and that was just such a bloody stupid thing. I felt so stupid.
Oh, no,
I was like, I just want to say really thank you, and this is amazing. And she was just like, okay, yeah, cool, thanks. But yeah, like, how incredible have they all been? And I know that is a ridiculous understatement, but yeah, I think more people do need to show gratitude. Actually,
absolutely. Yeah. It has been a really, really tough year for him. I mean, what a time to qualify and become a doctor. I mean, he literally qualified and then went straight into a pandemic and in A&E as well, literally straight onto A&E.
Well, the drummer in my band left his teaching job to train to be a paramedic and trained and qualified. Well, a technician, sorry, not a paramedic just yet, but yeah, he trained and qualified just as this all kicked off. So yeah, totally
what timing. Oh,
absolutely. But yeah, he was your rock by the sounds of it. And, you've got a whole host of mates and friends around you as well who, were all in a similar position probably. So you had a real sounding board from those guys and girls. But I mean,
of course, I think there is total solidarity in that everyone is in the same boat and we're all kind of in it together. And at least we have that. And we've all kind of tried to build each other up and support each other and
when needed.
But yeah, it was a tough year, and it was so many amazing things in the diary that have been moved, and I'm hoping, I don't know if they'll ever happen now. And it was such an exciting time, and also my tax bill does not care that there was a year off.
Let's not say tax.
So that was nice. Well, don't say the T word. That was a bit of a shocker as well, because it was a good year, and obviously now we've had a year off. Like, it's just, all of that as well. It's been financial stress. James has had to support us both. It's been hence tough. Why I ventured out, and I decided that I'm gonna be a PT. I turned to fitness when in that dark time, kind of when we were in like mid lockdown, and I was really struggling, and I was going on a downward spiral. I was eating more and more. I was starting to gain weight, and I was like, do you know what? I have a choice here. I can carry on like this, and it's going to get worse and worse. It's
going to consume you, or own it.
Absolutely. Or I can do something about it. And I decided to do something about it. And I actually did the body coach, Joe Wicks.
Oh yeah.
I did, and I loved it. It helped me remember how much I love fitness, and I love how it makes me feel and the energy it gives me, and just being active, and it kind of sparked something in me. I'm a bit like Jimmy. I'm like quite obsessive in my personality. If I like something, I want it. I want to have it. Like I can't get enough of it. And I think if you can find something that's good for you and get obsessed with that, I mean, wonderful. What more can you ask?
Yeah. So I mean, you turned to Joe Wicks, and you did the PT stuff there, and that helped so many people across the country as well, particularly in that first lockdown as well. But Jimmy, for you, like what about you? Like, because you, like Tess, would have had tons of things in the diary, loads of exciting projects on the go, and then blam, it's all on hold.
So I was directing a play, and it was a really weird 2 weeks, because we started directing. I started directing, and it was a 4-week rehearsal period, and it was that period just before we went into lockdown. So every day coming into rehearsal, it was like this horrible elephant in the room that we just didn't know. Suddenly 8 people in the UK had it, and then it was 20, and then it was 100, and then it started getting to the point, I think, in the second week, where I think we all kind of thought in the back of our heads, are we rehearsing something that's probably not going to be seen by anyone? And then it just, it just went up and up and up and up and up. And then by the end of the second week, all the theatres closed, and that was it. And so we all just went home, and it was a really weird headspace for me, because like you were saying, Tess, that whole thing about identity, you just think, what am I? Or what am I? What can I offer? Or what can I do? And I just remembered, and actually my girlfriend's a doctor. So that was kind of like a kind of similar thing. Like that was a nice bit of perspective, was that it gives you some sort of thing to cling on to when she comes back and talks about her day. You kind of go, okay, well, maybe that email that I could have sent isn't such a big deal, or but
oh, it's so true.
But no, I had something where I remember just lying in my bedroom and just thinking, I need to, I was on like my 10th Netflix binge or something. It was a month into lockdown, and I decided to start a podcast because I actually wanted myself to read a Shakespeare play a week. I thought, that'd be quite a nice thing to do. And then I just called up a friend, and then we just started this book club podcast, and it just sort of was really nice. Like, we had a little community, and it was good for mental health. And we just found ourselves doing that to kind of survive lockdown 1, really. But I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like what lockdown are we on? 3, 4? Third one.
3?
Yeah, something like that. I feel like this one has been, I mean, for me, certainly there's been real highs, and I wouldn't say highs, but there's been real lows to it. I mean, I felt like it's more like people would have just been existing, really, in this one. The weather's been awful. It's had this feeling of endlessness that I think in lockdown 1, it was all quite surreal. We all kind of like came into it together. We were all kind of learning it at the same time.
Yeah, it was summer as well. Like somebody said a minute ago, you thought like, oh, okay, this is okay, 2 or 3 weeks off, wicked.
Yeah.
And and you're going to go out in the garden with the family. You're going to go here and do this. Yeah, I can't leave the house, but I can be out in the garden. I can go and enjoy time.
Get into garden. Yeah, and it was all. And it's always a bit of a depressing period of time anyway, isn't it? That January to March. Yeah. And when you double down on that with the lockdown, and you just
the fact that nobody had their Christmas they were hoping for, that was kind of like a glimmer of hope, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm totally with you. Like, it was totally the hard. Like, for me, it's been the hardest one as well.
I think it's been tough for so many people, and I think it's one of those things where you just do things on autopilot. You kind of wake up, you do the same thing every day, and it's just this feeling I think everyone's in now, where people have got worryingly used to this idea of just, I mean, it's so bizarre. We've got this wonderful associate producer called Anna, who came on board in the company back in October, and been working with her day in, day out, but I've never met her ever. And it's this strange reality we live in now, where we just feel like we know people so well, but we haven't met each other. Yeah. And I think that need of human interaction is so important. So hopefully it's not been, like we were discussing, I think before we started recording, that we don't quite know if we're going to know how to be sociable. That hopefully that won't take too long to kind of come back. It's going to be a real struggle for loads of people, I think, to
I'm a hugger. I don't know what I'm going to do. I hug everyone. I love a hug. This has been one of the hardest things, is not having physical contact with people. I love a hug. Yeah. I'm quite, how are we going to deal with that? It's awkward doing air hugs.
Hazmat. There you go. One of those ponchos you can get from Thorpe Park. That'll do. Just wear 2.
That's it. We're all going to have to just permanently wear.
I'm thinking about the gigs that I've got coming up, and it's same with my band. Like, we all hug, see you later, hello, whatever. And it's just like I've been watching videos of gigs just to sort of keep myself entertained a little bit, and to be like, oh, the good old days. And I found videos of like people singing into my mic, and I'm like, never again is that going to happen. And like that interaction you have with the crowd, and a lot's going to need to change, and I think it will take some time for it to come back to any sort of normal. Like, it's going to be tough.
I think we've got you, and I don't know about you guys. I mean, it must be kind of, I guess, similar for singers, especially when you're doing like quite up-tempo songs that normally have a reaction, or normally have some kind of audience response. But I've certainly like spoken to a lot of comedians and actors, and they've got used to, with Zoom plays and live performances, whether it's comedy or music, you get used to just delivering it, because you don't have that element with, that dimension.
There's no reciprocation.
There's no reciprocation. And so coming back to live music, you're probably just going to find comedians banging through their sets. Like,
not waiting for the laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just going straight.
I did it. I think, it must have been at the beginning of this lockdown that we're in now, which seems like absolute madness, because that was back in October. If you remember, that's when Boris was about to do an announcement and he was late for like 4 hours. And I just set up at a gig. Like I was playing down at a bar in Rochester, and my band had set up. We were excited because we're like, yes, we've not seen each other since however long. We're going to do a gig, wicked. But everybody in this bar was just glued to the TV watching this thing. And it was a really, unfortunately, sadly, it's had to close. It was an amazing bar in Rochester called Moon Dance Bar. And they did live music all the way through. You know, they just made it work, and they locked down, they COVID secured the crap out of it and they just wanted to keep music going, which was amazing. And, you know, thanks Daisy, because we loved it. But what was really strange was we started playing, and I think the announcement had been made. So people were there were some people who were feeling a bit like, oh, what? But there were also a great proportion of people who were like, this is possibly my last drink out, my last evening out for a while, so I'm going to bloody enjoy it. So it was a really good gig. But what struck me was we started playing, and we got to a point in the song where, you know, was a perfect opportunity to get people singing. And I started to do my usual thing at this point and try to get people. And the security guy came around and went, "You're not allowed to get them to sing, mate. They can't sing. Can you tell them to not sing?" And I just remember saying, there is no way in hell I'm going to tell them to not sing. That's your job. I said, I won't do what I normally do here, but I'm not going to say, don't sing, you know, don't dance. I said, I'm not, you know,
don't have fun.
I'm not the school teacher here. My job is to make people have fun. So you know, and I wasn't rude to the guy because he was only doing his job, but it was so obscure to think they're not allowed to sing. And you could see people who were getting up and dancing, and he was going to say, "Can you not dance?" And they were like sitting down, and they were just doing the bum dance as best they could. But man, you know, it's going to take time for that. I think it's just going to take time to come back, but it will come back. It will, and who knows when. But
across everything.
Yeah, just imagine that first gig back. Imagine that first, you know, production and that play, you know, and that feeling that we're going to get when we're doing that.
And those lyrics we're going to make up.
yeah, that's it. And you know that face we pull when someone asks for Mustang Sally.
We've been there. We've all been there.
I think also like clinging on to the positives as well. There's been something about the lockdown with creative people where suddenly that whole thing of ego and vanity and image has just really gone out the window. And I think that, you know, if you look at the world before we went into lockdown, certainly in theatre, you kind of felt like, you know, if you didn't have big crews and went into big, you know, theatres with assistant designers and assistant directors and all these sorts of people, that you were going to be judged, and you know, theatres wanted you to have that. And I'm sure for musicians as well, you probably thought, if I'm not recording in a fancy studio, people are going to look at that as a. But you know, I think when you've got everyone actually just recording out of their bedrooms, and you've got everyone just,
it's a level playing field.
A level playing field, and actually you realise you don't really need it. All you need is the, you know, the instruments to make the.
Well, it's stripped it all back to basics, and there are some positives to come from all of this. They are, you know, there aren't many, but there are definitely some positives, and you know, we've alluded to them in previous podcasts along the lines of the time you might have spent with your family and your loved ones, you know, close by, which, you know, is a double-edged sword really, because that could be good and that can be bad as well because of the length of time we've spent with our loved ones. But, you know, those opportunities that you might have missed had you been at work. Do you know what I mean? Like those conversations, those ad hoc, really random things that happened, and those funny things. So they're the positives. And for me, I've got 2 boys, so you know, there've been so many things that, as you know, as a dad at work, and I know the same for my wife, she also works, that we have seen and we have experienced and we've had the opportunity not to miss because of the fact we've been there. That's a massive positive. And like you say, Jimmy, you know, the fact that there are so many creative people who went, okay, I can't do what I normally do. Okay, what about this? And they've gone off and tried to do their own thing, you know, and they've gone off and they've created something else. I think that's incredible. And there's incredible positives to come out of that. And actually, I think our industries will be stronger and more versatile as a result of that as well. Preachy. I know that sounds well preachy.
Just appreciate. It's so true though. I think I didn't realize how much I needed it. And like those gigs where it's like, you know, you're driving for hours and you're going into an M&S food and you're grabbing some food and it's 2 a.m. and you're knackered. And I used to think, oh, what am I doing? And what I'd give to do one of those little gigs, like a couple of times, I'd do it. I'd probably do it. Don't tell anyone this. I'd probably do it for free right now, just because I'm so desperate to do something.
You'd even eat a lasagna on a gig, wouldn't you? You'd even eat the dreaded lasagna.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. A gig lasagna.
Yeah.
I love a gig lasagna.
Jimmy, this is, you know, I mean, these are the perils we face. Yeah, gig lasagna.
So it's normally a lasagna because it's easy.
That's so true what you said about appreciating those smaller gigs, because I think you just sort of realize, don't you, that actually if there's 2 people there, that's an audience. And the idea of appreciating an audience of any size is such a special thing. And it's that community spirit that I think now, you know, if you play to an empty house, I hope that we all manage to get our houses back. But certainly I think with theatre, there's going to be maybe a little bit of time before full houses come back, you know, with, people maybe feeling a bit tentative about going back. I don't think that's going to matter so much. I just think the idea of just a small group of people watching is going to be so special that,
I can't wait. I really can't wait. I think we'll appreciate it
so much more.
Oh, we will. And fingers crossed it happens soon, or at least in June when they're saying that there'll be no more lockdowns. That'll be the one. Let's keep it all crossed for that. I think, we've talked about performing for a very long time, and, you know, what makes us tick and things like that. So I think now would be a really good time to talk to you, Tess, about, you got a single that's just come out. I've just become incredibly distracted by how terrible my lockdown hair is, which is awful and incredibly vain. But,
I love a lockdown hair too.
It's horrible looking at yourself just constantly in the reflection of me, just looking like a psycho.
I feel really sorry for you guys. Like I've just been able to let my hair go.
I don't know, like, what's going on? How did you manage? Your hair looks wicked, Jimmy. What am I doing wrong? Mine just goes out.
I think, you know, when we talk about being out of practice and we talk about being worried about how we're going to come back to the first rehearsal, I think the first National Hair Day, I think there's going to be some really interesting haircuts. I'm thinking I'm just going to keep. My wife has offered to cut my hair, and I'm a bit like, I'm just going to go for it. Why not? Now is the perfect time to just do whatever with your hair.
For James, and it was actually all right. I watched the little YouTube video, buzzer up the back. You start with the 1, and then you go up to the 3, and then you do the 2. I was really professional. There's a couple of patches. It's all right. It was okay. It was a bit of a bodge.
Well, Jane did mine in lockdown too. She did it first time. It was great, and I was really happy with it. Second time Jane did it, I think Jane thought I was being critical. But I just wanted to make sure, and she wasn't making me feel very confident, because I could hear her behind me going, "No, I don't know if I've done that right. Is it 5 first and then 4?" And I was sitting there going, "Please don't make this really bad, because I can't have a skinhead because I look like a thug." And don't do that. And she just basically gave up. She's like, "Oh, I'm not doing it." And I was left with like this really weird random hairdo. But anyway, lockdown haircuts. That's why I'm leaving it. I'm going for the full. At the minute, I think I'm at the Michael Ball stage or the Leo Sayer stage. Maybe even George Michael, don't know, but I'm loving it. It's all good. But sorry, Tess, that was a complete deviation from talking about your single.
I love a bit of a hair deviation.
Yeah, it's a nice link because we can have it all. I can literally have all the hair in the world. That's the name of your lovely single. So your single was released on the 18th of March. Be Yourself Music.
Yes, and Thursday.
Yeah, so the Thursday just gone. So that will be, hang on, when's this podcast coming out? So this is episode 19, so this will be out Monday coming. So that's like 2 weeks ago, maybe, or a week. But the 18th of March when it came out.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's you, Brendan Mills, the fabulous Brendan Mills, saxophonist to the stars. And yeah, tell us a bit more about it. I mean, Jimmy and I have both heard it now, and it's got summer banger written all over it, isn't it?
Oh, I'm so glad you think so. We were so excited about this one. It's been signed by an amazing label. They're called Be Yourself Music, and we love this track. It's high energy. It's good fun. I think we all need a bit of energy right now and a bit of summer vibes, and I really love it. I really love it, and I hope you all do too. I hope it's something you can listen to and have a dance around in the kitchen too, and get ready for summer when we can all get back out in the sunshine. And
I thought you were going to say we can all get battered is what I thought you were going to say.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, that too.
Hell yeah. It is definitely a drinking song. I think we could all get drunk to that song.
It's got the vibes. So where can people hear it? Is it only streamed? Can they download it? Can they buy physical copies?
It's available on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, it's everywhere. You can find links to all of that. The link is on my bio on my Instagram. If you just go to my bio and click the link, all of the platforms will be there. You can access it through any of those. Brilliant. And there's also the lyric video on YouTube, which is really cool, which the label just put on there. There's some really cool bits. So, and we're going to be doing actually a live streamed performance of the song in a couple of weeks. Hopefully lockdown permitting, we'll see what's going on with the regulations, but like a socially distanced live stream. It's going to be very interesting. Acoustic performance of the song as well, which I will put all over my socials so people can see that when that's coming
up. Date to be confirmed there, but if people just find you on your social media, and we'll give all the links to social media right at the end of the podcast. But just very quickly, what's your Insta, your Facebook? How can people find that, Tess?
Yeah, absolutely. It's at Tess Burrstone is my Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Tess Burrstone Singer, if you want to find me on my Facebook page. And also on YouTube as Tess Burrstone as well. If you fancy going on there.
Nice and straightforward, nice and simple, easy. And we'll put the links up, as I say, we'll put the links up on our social media pages as well. And that way you can find it. But you have very graciously and very kindly, and Be Yourself Music have also very kindly loaned us a little snippet that we can hear. So is it cool to play that now? We're going to have a quick listen of the little snippet right now.
Yeah, let's have a little listen.
Yeah. All right, Tess, I'm going to let you do the intro as if this is a proper radio show or something. So Tess, hit it.
Woo!
What have we got coming up, Tess? You can do the intro.
Oh, you want me to introduce the song? Oh!
Yeah. See, that was seamless, wasn't it? I'm not even going to edit it.
Wait, I'm ready. No, you have to now. You have to cut that out.
No, I'm not going to cut it out. This is real life.
Okay, I'm ready now.
Tess, what we got coming up? Tess, what's happening?
This is We Can Have It All.
This is We Can Have It All. Tess Burrstone and Brendan Mills. We're back with, we enjoyed your song. We both said how much we loved your new single anyway, Tess. And what we didn't do was give it a round of applause, but I don't want to do it sarcastically, or at least it seemed, but we are going to clap because it was great.
Yay, thank you.
Everybody buy it, everybody stream it, and everybody play it whilst they're getting battered at the parties.
Everybody have a drink and celebrate listening to it, getting ready for the summer.
Yeah.
Not long
and
now.
Check out your live stream. Check out your socials so that they know when the live stream is. So you can watch it and see it real as can be at the moment anyway. Jimmy, like you were talking about, obviously, you're talking about the Alexander technique there, which, as I say, something I'm going to look into and something that I've been interested in for a little while. So, I appreciate any links you could chuck my way. It'll be very helpful. But one of the things that you wanted to talk about was a charity reading for the Equity Charitable Trust. Talk us through that. Tell us a little bit more. Charlie's Aunt is the name of the...
Charlie's Aunt. Yeah. So I'd say, the great thing about your song, Tess, is I think it really hits the mood of the country, of just like this feel good thing that everyone really wants at the moment, screaming out for. And we had exactly the same thought pattern when we were thinking, what play would we do that people will really want at this time? And Charlie's Aunt is such a funny play. So it's about these two guys who... they're these Oxford undergraduates, and they're trying to woo these two girls, and they think, it'd be really good because one of their aunts is coming, and they think it'd be really good to take advantage of that, use the aunt's visit to try and get the two girls over and come across as gentlemen and all the rest of it. And then the aunt can't make it, so they get their friends to dress up and pretend to be their aunt. And it's a really funny comedy of disguise, and it's a farce, and it's brilliant. So we're doing an online charity reading on Sunday, April the 11th. We've got a load of people doing it, like Giles Brandreth is playing one of the parts. We've got Gary Wilmot. We've got Will Hislop. We've got the current Hamilton, Carl Queensborough, which is amazing. We've got a load of other people, and they're all being really good sports and going to look very silly in front of lots of people to raise donations for the Equity Charitable Trust, who are a wonderful charity.
So how can people, I presume it's ticketed, or do people just donate and then they get a ticket? What's the situation there?
It's completely free.
Cool.
There's going to be a YouTube link that's going to be made public on the Proud Haddock website, which is proudhaddock.com. It's a YouTube live, so it's going to be streamed from Zoom through to YouTube live. And we are raising donations, so it's completely free to watch, but we really are going to be trying to build up as much money as possible, because it's like everything we've been talking about, the theatre industry at the moment, it feels like such a fragile time, and getting people back to work, I think, is going to be a lot harder than it looks like. I think to most people it just looks like, oh, theatre's going to open and all shows are going to kick off, and it's all the lights are going to come back on, and everyone's going to be performing.
Not just going to be the flick of a switch, is it? It's going to take time.
No, it's going to take a long time to grind back into action, I think, for a lot of actors and people who, I think have been very, very, in a lot of trouble financially over the course of the pandemic. So it's a charity doing wonderful things. So
it's great. And I think, like we were saying earlier, I think the possibilities now online, maybe that will offer some sort of blended a blended approach to coming back into it, and down the line, who even could be an extension of what we do in real life. So
it's a great way to get people to just kind of stream things from their houses. And
absolutely,
I would never have thought that we'd be able to get the kind of people that we've got involved in this doing a play, but
in this manner as well. It makes it so much more accessible, for those people who might have been, I want to go to the theatre, but the thought of going into town or into London, the effort, there may be people who might not have done it because of that. So as I say, there are huge positives to, and the potential is huge as well. So 11th of April, charity reading of Charlie's Aunt. Giles Brandreth has the best voice in the world, and you've got some amazing Gary
Wilmot,
the legend that is Gary Wilmot.
He's such a brilliant actor, and they're all such great sports for doing it. And Will Hislop, who's a really up and coming comedian, who you might have seen a sketch which he does about the NHS clap, which is subtitled, and it's really funny. So check it out.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, listen, again, we'll put those links on there as well, Jimmy. So thank you for sharing that. And Tess, you mentioned earlier about the fact that you kind of were questioning who you were. Your identity had taken a bit of a hit from the fact that all of your music work had halted and had stopped, and you turned to fitness to bring yourself back round. And I'm so pleased you found something that that sort of turned you around and sort of made you feel like yourself again, because it's so important to find that, and good on you. But from that, you mentioned earlier about you've trained now to be a PT. I do hope it wasn't as a result
all over Zoom.
All over Zoom, but I hope it wasn't because they said that our careers were unviable, and I hope you did it for yourself. But I mean, that probably prompted it a little bit, but
Yeah, it was just, it kind of scared me a little bit, because I didn't realize how heavily dependent I was on that part of my life. And I love, and it is who I am. It will always be a huge part of who I am, but it made me think, who else can I be, and what else can I do? And it was something that I've become so passionate about, and over the course of the year, how much it's helped me, and not just physically but mentally. Like I was really struggling with anxiety, and I was getting really depressed, and every day it was kind of getting worse and worse, and my anxiety was at a point where it was just I couldn't cope. And I was like, right, I know what is going to do me a world of good, and it's doing some fitness, it's doing a workout, it's getting my body moving. I know that will, in the past, that's helped me. And I started doing the body coach. I started doing Joe Wicks. He's got loads of videos online, and I started just doing his videos, and it just changed. Something switched in me, and I was like, that makes me feel good. And afterwards, I have energy, and my mental health improves, and I sleep better, and all of it just is, life is better. It's just so much better, and it made me go, okay, I need to do this. And I think at a time when we all got, it was that point, wasn't it, where we can either just, it's so easy to just sit and I was just watching. I like Jimmy said, I was Netflix binge. I was like 20th Netflix binge, and I was like, I cannot watch another series. I can't do it. And so it was a time when I really needed it, and it sparked a new passion. I mean, it is kind of a performance in a way of being a PT. You're kind of leading a group. I'm used to an audience. It's kind of, you have a bit of an audience, and it's kind of that. It felt like a lot of my skills were kind of transferable. I have dance background as well, so I've always loved being physical, and it's something that I'd fallen out of love with for a long time, and it's something that I've now rekindled, and will hopefully be a secondary career for me, maybe another string to my bow, as it were.
I know that in the near future, I know that you're looking to launch something, and as in like for that part of your career to sort of make a start as well. So I was going to say, keep an eye on your singing musician socials for more information about your PT socials and things.
I
and get in
will,
touch,
as and when, put some stuff on there. Yeah, absolutely. It's all being sorted. It's all in the wings at the moment, kind of being in the process.
The magic
of being
is
made,
happening.
Branding and the logo and all that stuff is all kind of on its way to being ready. So as soon as that is ready to go, I'll post it everywhere, and hopefully everyone will be able to.
I feel like given the fact that you have, you've rekindled your love for it, and given the fact that actually the fitness regime that you started during lockdown sort of helped you bring you out of from a negative place, if you like. I think actually those people who join up with you will have an incredible experience, because of that. Because I know that there'll be probably a load of people that will be doing it with you who may be feeling a bit like that as well. So yeah, the fact that you've opened yourself up to help others is fantastic. So good on you.
I would love people to go through that's one of the reasons I wanted to do it, is because it's changed it honestly, and I know how cliche it is. It has honestly changed my life. It has completely changed my life and changed the way my relationship with food, changed my perspective. It's given me confidence, it's given me power, and all of it. And I want people to have that. And there are people in my life that I know need it and would love it, and said to me like, oh my God, I want to do it. So I hope I can inspire and motivate people to join me and do that.
I feel very confident that you will. I know I have the fortune of knowing you, and perhaps biased in that sense as well. But I think
I've known you a long time, Tom. Can I please tell everyone when we first met?
If you want.
Can I tell? So we were. He's gonna kill me. We did a school play. We did a production of Grease, the musical, in school. And Tom was, of course, Danny, because he's amazing. And I was so upset I didn't get Sandy. I was only in year 7 at the time. I was a little squirt, and I was devastated. Mr. Elman would not give me Sandy, our music teacher.
I mean, given the significant age gap, I was kind of relieved that didn't happen, if I'm honest.
That would have been very weird. And I didn't get that at the time. I was
Tess, who did you play?
I was probably dancer number 5 or something.
I think you were. Chorus.
I was in the chorus. And it was great fun. It was really good fun.
I think I was given that part. Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. And I think I was. Well, I hope
beautiful voice, everyone.
I was going to say, I hope I was given it because of my singing quality and not because of the potential for me to be a womanizer and a bit of a chauvinist. But we all love Danny Zuko. He's such a rebel, isn't he? I'm definitely not that. I can tell you. No. But that's interesting because I was the only out of me and all the other guys who were my T-birds. One of whom was Shane, who's another mutual. Like obviously Shane. And
Shane.
We all went to school with Shane as well. But I was. But we were like, let's all grow our hair. Let's do it. Let's be real about this. Let's grow our hair. I was the only person that kept growing my hair. And I only realised Malcolm didn't. Like was he Knicky? I was the only one. So I had the authentic DA, they call it, don't they? The duck's ass, because it does all the thing at the back. Yeah, I was the only one. So
you committed.
Wow,
I was committed. Well, that's what happens. I think they call it method. Is that right?
Method acting.
Yeah.
Yes, darling.
I have to.
You have your Stanislavski book out.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
And I also remember that Sandy had to wear a cast because she broke her arm skiing like a week before the production. So that made dancing interesting. Yeah, there you go. Fun fact. So there you go. There's a little bit about me, and that's how we met. Grease, baby. Grease is the word.
Way back. We went way back.
Now listen, Jimmy, what was I said to you at the beginning, tell us some of the performances that you've been in. What's your most embarrassing performance, or are you not professionally allowed to say?
My most, as an actor or a director?
As an actor. Well, have there been any embarrassing costumes? Have you ever been the arse end of a donkey?
No. Okay. So really embarrassing moment for me was actually in a production of Charlie's Aunt.
Oh, okay.
So I was at drama school, and I think there was a moment where my character was supposed to come on. He was supposed to run on out of breath. And I was playing 2 characters, which meant that there was a costume change. So I had to get changed and then run on out of breath. But obviously you don't have a huge area to run. So you've got to run on the spot because you've got to hear him running. But I was doing the running on the spot halfway through my costume change. So through the flat, the entire audience saw me in boxer shorts running on the spot. They were just like, what the fuck what is he doing? And then I kind of just came on and pretended to be out of breath. And that's definitely my most embarrassing.
Nice. And that's like the dream where you're in front of an audience in your pants, isn't it? You know, that
is
the nightmare.
Dream.
That is you lived it.
The lived nightmare, exactly. So I think when you do that, there's no trough to which you can go down. I think
that's pretty good. I don't know if Tess, there must have been embarrassing things that have happened to you at gigs.
Oh hell yeah, there's been a few. I was the arse end of a donkey once in Panto as well.
There you go. Tess Burrstone, you heard it here first.
You had it.
Arse end of donkey.
I had to lift my leg. I actually had to lift my leg and do a little donkey fart as well. I didn't actually have to do the fart. It was a sound effect, thankfully. Yeah. But I had to lift. It was quite humiliating. Luckily, no one actually knew I was in there. You all know I was in there now. So
we do know now, and it will be front page news because, frankly, there's nothing else to talk about.
Oh goodness. The most embarrassing moment. I mean, there is one that sticks out. I used to I was in a touring show called Pink Floyd Show UK, and I had to sing. I don't know if you've heard the vocal solo "Great Gig in the Sky."
Yeah, I watched your YouTube video of it earlier.
Oh wow! Oh really?
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's basically ad-libbing for like 10 minutes. It's crazy, and I had to learn. But I did that. I used to get so nervous about doing it, and we did it so many times. But I'd always just get so nervous because it was just such an epic. It was an epic. It's an absolute epic. It is an epic, and
that one.
Oh yeah, and it sweeps me in and out. Oh yeah, it's a bit of a crazy one, that one. And it was a big audience. We were in Berlin, and it was about 6,000 people, big stadium, and it went really well. Standing ovation. I was like, yes, this is amazing. I got through it. I'm okay. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go back and stand with the girls. We were like doing our backing vocals at the back, and I turned around and I went arse over tit, straight over a light, straight head first down, my butt in the air, and nice. 6,000 people went, oh. It was, and the girls at the back, I could just see their shoulders going up and down. They were just laughing. Hysterical. And then we got told off afterwards. They were like, girls, it was so unprofessional, you should keep it together. Why are you like laughing? And we were just in hysterics. I've never heard.
It's good to know that I'm not the only one that's fallen arse overhead.
There's one moment.
It's happened to me a couple of times, and we're in heels as well, so like we've got another thing to contend with. We're trying to balance on heels. That's a thing I didn't think about. I have not worn heels in a year. I've got to start like doing some like workouts in heels or something. Get my legs, my calves ready.
Jimmy, what were you going to say? I think Jimmy was about to add another embarrassing moment.
I had a really small role in a Harry Potter film when I was about 18. And it was a moment where we had to get, one of the takes we had to do was getting out of a boat and walking up a hill. And I had no grip on the shoes that I was wearing, and I was the only one who had no grip. So in front of everyone, in front of like this big film crew and the director, and it was just, this simple take where it was just like 5 of us walking past the camera. I just slid all the way down. It's sort of like this one moment I'm ever going to be in a Hollywood movie, and I just
oh my God.
Down. That is luckily, being that kind of movie, they had replacement shoes like that they could just put me on, but it was incredible.
Surely they could just magic it better. I mean,
they did.
Yes.
Don't spoil the illusion for millions, Jimmy.
Accio shoes.
Accio shoes. Isn't that a brand? Echo. Echo.
Oh,
that brand, isn't it?
There you go. Echo.
There you go. Yeah. Another potential sponsorship deal right there. So we are. I think we're at like 4 potential product placements throughout this podcast this evening. That's a new record, so thank you both so much. And listen, I think it would be a really appropriate time. Well, actually, it wouldn't be. I'd quite like to just continue this chat all night, but I do know that we have to say goodbye very soon. And it would be great to have you back on at some point, maybe down the line when we're back in the theatre, back on stage. How about that? Should we do that? It's been a lot of fun. I really do genuinely appreciate your time. I really do also appreciate both of you talking quite honestly and openly about everything that we've gone through, and it hasn't felt like a chore in the slightest bit. So thank you both very much. So Tess Burrstone, give us your socials, chuck them out there again for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's at Tess Burrstone, pretty much across the board. Instagram, Facebook. Tess is Tess Burrstone Singer on Facebook, and I'm on YouTube as well. Tess Burrstone, just my name, nice and simple.
Don't wear it out. There it is. And Jimmy, Proud Haddock. Where can people find out more about that and what you're doing and what you've got coming up, dude?
Yeah, absolutely. So Twitter, we're at Proud Haddock. Instagram, we're at @proud_Haddock. And I'm on Twitter at JimmyWalters101. That's it. Yeah. And it will all be on our website, which is proudhaddock.com.
Amazing. Well, we're going to finish up. We're going to hear that snippet again because it's banging, and why not? But I do heartily recommend to anybody listening that they go and check out the full tune. And thank you both so much. We're going to wrap up another episode of the Wedding Thinners podcast. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you, guys. Be well. Thank you. Woohoo!